Hello, welcome. For those still drafting in their fantasy football leagues, I am your host, Andrew Erickson. I'm on Twitter at Andrew Erickson _. And we're going to run through my perfect 2021 fantasy football draft guide round by round. It's a cram sesh. So break out the books, get your notepad out. We're going to go through this real quick to get you ready for your draft. That's probably tonight. You procrastinated. Hey, that's okay. I was a big procrastinator in college. So that's all I did. Waited till the last minute to do everything. So we're going to get into this now. Again, this is on pff.com. Use promo code kickoff30. Get 30% off a PFF sub. That's all you need. We got all the fantasy analysts over there. Ian Hart, Dwayne McFarland, Jared Evans. Everyone's over there. And we got the best stuff, best tools, best predictions, projections, rankings. Nathan Yankee, Kevin Cole, just a friggin' Avengers squad over there. So let's dive in. Round one, the perfect fantasy football draft guide round by round. Again, this is for PPR, but it can be applied to half-point PPR, standard leagues. You just got to look at the rankings to kind of change some of the tiers up, but it's pretty easy and simple to follow, which is why it's been really popular. So I'm glad that you guys have liked it. And if you haven't checked it out yet, again, it's on pff.com. Perfect 2021 fantasy football draft strategy guide round by round 3.0. Because I've been going and updating this thing. All right, round one. Draft a running back, receiver, or Travis Kelce. Okay, again, a recurring theme of this is going to be you want a top 6 tight end. It's very, very important. I think that the consensus at PFF is that we want to get an elite tight end. It's super important. You do not want to be streaming the position. Yes, there are a couple of decent options. The Patriots tight ends come to name, but you want to lock and load that position. You want that positional advantage every single week. So get a tight end that you want. That starts with Travis Kelce in round one. But besides that, you want to lock up one of these stud running backs. Again, I think that the best approach is going with it's called Hero RB, which is basically drafting your bell cow running back in round one or round two, and then kind of addressing the other positions. So having at least one staple guy, one guy you can rely on that's going to see a heavy workload in their offense, whether it's McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, the guys I list off here, McCaffrey, Cook, Zeke, Kamara, or even Aaron Jones, guys that you are locked and loaded to produce in 2021. You want to have at least one of those guys on your roster. But if you miss out on one of those top picks in the second half of the first round, you can look at some of these receivers: Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs come to name. Calvin Ridley's a guy I've taken at the top of the second round a lot because, look, man, he has a chance to be the number one wide receiver overall. One overall. PFF fantasy projections absolutely love this guy. So that's what I would go there. Draft one of these wide receivers here in round one. Okay, on to round two, the Darren Waller zone. Okay, you should feel comfortable. If you have the turn, honestly, you can take Darren Waller at 13. I have no problem whatsoever doing that. I think anywhere in round two, he's fair game. Some of these smaller leagues, you can probably even get him in round three. But Darren Waller, again, the same reason why we like Travis Kelce in round one, same reason we like Darren Waller in round two. 27% target share last season, was fourth best among all players. And I do not expect Bryan Edwards, Henry Ruggs, any of these other Raiders guys really stepping up and necessarily commanding a huge target share. Derek Carr, Darren Waller, the connection is there. And that's why I like Darren Waller in round two. Also, you see more running backs available: Najee Harris, Joe Mixon, Nick Chubb, Gibson, Jonathan Taylor, Edwards-Helaire. Again, these guys aren't necessarily as locked and loaded as some of the guys in the first round, hence why they're going in the second round. But you can see the paths where they are bell cow backs. Najee Harris is going to get all the touches. Antonio Gibson has CMC upside. Jonathan Taylor was an absolute stud at the end of last year. Nick Chubb is a freaking monster, the best pure rusher in the NFL. Joe Mixon is, again, going to be another touch monster. So that's why I love, if you go wide receiver in round one, you can come back with a stud running back in round two. So don't feel like you're necessarily reaching or, I missed out on a round one running back. Not necessarily in today's game, 2021, where we have a lot of stud wide receivers that can definitely fill the gap in terms of fantasy production. Look, I mean, my favorites in this range are definitely Mixon, Najee Harris, Antonio Gibson. Those are definitely my guys I like. Also, I like Nick Chubb a lot, because I just think he's really efficient and he's one of the best running backs in the NFL, and he'll find a way to get it done. He also has great matchups to start the year. So love those guys there. Round three, again, another tight end comes on the board, George Kittle. Again, I think Nathan Yankee has George Kittle ranked above Darren Waller. I wouldn't go that far, but no one's been more efficient than George Kittle. So round three is the sweet spot to take George Kittle. And then if that's not the case, I do like to have at least one running back, on my squad by my pick three. Again, it doesn't always work out that way. So there are a couple of decent options here. You have DeAndre Swift and Chris Carson as the other options. But ideally, I'd like to have at least one running back through my first two picks, get one bell cow, and then just continue to draft that tight end or get, these dominant wide receivers, because you have stacked wide receivers in round three: Jefferson, Allen, A.J. Brown, Allen Robinson, McLaurin, Lamb, Cooper. Like, it's just so stacked. So I really want to be addressing the wide receiver position here, not necessarily running back, because Carson, Swift, I like them, but sometimes they fall in round four. So if you feel like you're reaching on a running back, you probably are. So just wait. and draft the wide receivers. Take one of these studs because, again, you take receivers deep until you actually have to make these start-sit questions every week, and you realize, I don't know which receivers start because they all kind of fall in the same way, and you really want the receivers that emerge as these top-tier guys. And I think that there's a lot of them in this tier here that can really emerge as like true difference makers at the position, which is why I like them more than the running backs here. Justin Jefferson, for example, like he's going to be seeing insane amount of targets to start the year with Irv Smith basically out of the season. Like it's just going to be the Justin Jefferson show for the Minnesota Vikings. Last year, it's going to be absolutely a print fest for Justin Jefferson. All right. Round 4, receiver, running back, same approach. No tight ends here. So again, if you miss on the top 3 guys, you can wait a little bit. You don't necessarily need to draft a tight end, but more stud receivers: Godwin, Deontay, Woods, Moore, Julio Jones, Tyler Lockett, just freaking studs. A couple running backs again following this: David Montgomery, Miles Sanders, James Robinson. If you still haven't taken a running back now, okay, this is probably where you want to at least get one guy, but because we do have some bell cows. But again, these aren't necessarily guaranteed. I think Montgomery, Miles Sanders are probably the most locked and loaded. Robinson is seemingly getting more competition every single day. Carlos Hyde is going to be a thorn in his side at some points, and we'll see how Duke Johnson, shout out to Ian Hartitz, Duke Johnson is his guy, but we don't know how his role will be in the offense. But yeah, that's why he kind of falls here in round 4. Round 5, back to the tight end position, Hockenson and Mark Andrews. This is where you can get these guys. Like they're readily available, and this is where you should draft your tight end if you have not one yet. Look, Hockenson is going to lead the Detroit Lions in targets, and Mark Andrews is a good bet to lead the Ravens in targets. And he's been super efficient. He's been a touchdown monster. The Ravens wide receivers are banged up. Like he's going to start off the season on fire against the Raiders. Like he's going to have a sick game. So draft confidence Hockenson, draft confidence Mark Andrews in round 5. And as always, just continue to look at the tiers, look at the rankings too. Okay, these tight ends are gone. All right, now receiver, running back, who's the highest ranked guy? Check out the tiers articles. Check out the rankings on PFF.com. Make sure you use promo code KICKOFF30, 30% off any PFF sub. Get in right now because this is the cheapest it's going to be. It's not going to get any cheaper, guys. It's only going to go up in price. So get in while the getting's good now. Kyle Pitts is obviously an option here as well if he falls. Courtland Sutton, I like a lock. Look, man, he's all locked and loaded to go. Gotta love his healthy knee. Round 6. Now you can look at taking an elite quarterback. Again, I've been following the late round quarterback approach, and I've got to kind of get into that a little bit as we go through the draft strategy here. If you're like dead set, I want to take an elite guy, like round 6 is probably where I pull the trigger. I think that's where it's more fair value to take a guy like Mahomes, Allen, Murray, Lamar Jackson. Like this is where I want to do it. Usually guys will go earlier than this, and it's okay. It's like, look, man, the value's not there if they're going around 4, round 5. Look, you're going to survive without Patrick Mahomes. You don't need Patrick Mahomes on your team to have a good fantasy football squad. I know that sounds sad and not fun, but that's just the reality of it. Quarterback is much easier to replace in non-quarterback or non-2 quarterback leagues. So again, if you want to take an elite guy in a 1 quarterback league, round 6, I think is the most acceptable spot to take one like that. But really, I prefer taking some of these running backs. Raheem Mostert, Trey Sermon are here in round 6. Same thing with Damien Harris. We got some news about Ramondre Stevenson with a thumb injury, it seems like. So that's okay. Like, does that mean he's not going to play as much? Like, he's going to play, but how confident are they going to be giving him the ball when you need hands to hold onto the football? So Damien Harris seems to have a heavy workload ahead of him. You look at his snap share last year, 60% snap share through the preseason, with basically playing all the time with the starters, and he averaged 18 touches per game when he played at least 50% of the snaps last season. So Damien Harris, even if he's not playing, 80% snap share like some of these bell cow running backs, he's going to get touches when he's on the field. Like that's all that they've done so far through the preseason. That's what they did with them last year, and I think that's going to continue into 2021. So I like Damien Harris there in round 6. Again, you can like players, and it's really about price. Like you got to be price sensitive. You can hate a player in round 3, and you can love them in round 6. Like you got to be open to when players fall in values. You can't just hate a player no matter what. Yeah, again, not the huge on like T.Y. Hilton. Like there are some players when you get to the late rounds, like, okay, I'm just never taking this guy. Like that's fine. But during the top 10 rounds, like you got to be price sensitive. And if guys fall, you got to scoop with the value. All right. Damien Harris, boom, there's my face. The TikTok video. Follow me on TikTok at @AndrewX_. Okay, draft quarterback, round 7. Russell Wilson's usually available here, and that's kind of why I don't feel like I need to reach on a quarterback. You can take Russ, let Russ cook. Shane Waldron, the offense is going to be cooking. Again, they have a tough schedule to open the year, so maybe we don't see it right off the bat. But you got to also know if you've drafted an elite quarterback, or you take a quarterback within the top 8 rounds, that's your guy. Your ride or die. Do not take another quarterback. Like you are committing that, okay, Russell Wilson's my guy. I'm going to take the leaps and bounds. I'm going in on him. Like you cannot hedge and draft another quarterback. It's just not what you want to do. It's a waste of a pick, because by doing that, it's like, well, why'd you draft him in the first place? If you weren't, it's like people panicking about Dak Prescott against Tampa Bay. Then why did you draft him? You knew he was playing Tampa Bay week 1. Like, don't draft these guys and then bail the minute they have a tough matchup. Like, you're drafting them because they are elite. So unless you don't think that, then don't draft them. That's my, early round quarterback spiel. Okay. But there's more seed receivers here that you can get. I mean, I still like Brandon Cooks a lot. I think he's going to get a lot of targets in this offense. Robbie Anderson, Antonio Brown, he's been getting a lot of hype. Corey Davis, Gallup, Williams, Waddle, Fuller, Samuel. Curtis Samuel's banged up, so probably not him anymore. Man, I'm concerned about Curtis Samuel. He's not been healthy all offseason, so we got some concerns. So probably do not draft him right now. But yes, more receivers, running backs are available here for your liking. Round 8. Again, you may feel like you need a tight end here. If you have not drafted a tight end at this point, I'm sorry. It's very unfortunate. Logan Thomas is the firewall. Like, he is the last guy I feel any sort of confidence drafting as a tight end. Again, I mentioned the Curtis Samuel injury. This means Logan Thomas is probably going to have his targets stay the same. That was my big concern for going into the offseason. I changed a little bit after I saw his preseason usage. It was really good. He was running on snaps or routes on all Ryan Fitzpatrick's dropbacks. He was playing all the snaps with all the starters. So I felt confident. So really, it's the Logan Thomas, the Terry McLaurin show in Washington. So again, he's the last guy. And then if you don't get him, it's Patriots tight ends, and then it's cry. Like, that's pretty much the strategy here. Tight end strategy for tight end. This is what you need to know. Draft top 6 tight end. No fan of Logan Thomas. One of the Patriots tight ends, or cry. That's the move. Okay. Again, not really. You don't necessarily need to cry, but again, after Logan Thomas, I still like the Patriots tight ends. I know some people are mixed on them, but they're going to be featured parts of that offense. The Patriots are going to build their game plans around their tight ends, which you cannot say. Most tight ends are afterthoughts in their offenses. So that's why I do not like those other tight ends, even if they have better profiles. Like, the Seahawks are not building their game plan around Gerald Everett. At least I don't think that's going to happen. Whereas the Patriots are like, okay, what are we going to do with Jonnu? How are we going to get him the ball? Okay, how are we going to use Hunter Henry in the red zone? Like, that's what you got to think as a fantasy manager when you're drafting your team. If you're looking at tight end, those are the guys I like. They also have really great matchups week 1. Miami is not a good matchup for the tight end position, or they are a good matchup for the tight end position. They're really strong on the perimeter. You got Byron Jones, you got Xavier Howard, but the middle of the field is a weakness for Miami's defense. That's where you're going to see the tight ends used. So you're going to see these Patriots tight ends. Guarantee Hunter Henry is going to be a hot waiver wire pickup. I'm telling you right now, if you need a tight end, go get Hunter Henry. I guarantee he'll deliver for you this week. Round 9. This is a sweet spot. This is the home run, boom, home run out of the park. Going to draft a quarterback. Jalen Hurts. Look, I've done a lot of redraft leagues, and 2 quarterbacks I've drafted the most are Jalen Hurts and Tom Brady. And you know why? Because have really good matchups week 1. Because week 1 matters. Okay, if you're going to follow late round quarterback approach, you got to know who your guy's playing in week 1 if you feel good about starting him. That's the whole point of the streaming game, because basically it's kind of a start to the season while you're streaming, because you're going late round. You're not committing to a guy. It's like, all right, I'm going to play this guy until he's a bad matchup, and then I'm going to bail, go to this other player, and just kind of bounce around the quarterback position. Jalen Hurts. He's playing Atlanta week 1. PFF's 32nd ranked secondary. Start him in redraft league, start him in DFS, start him everywhere. He's going to have a great game. He runs. He has more passing weapons than he's ever had before. Please start Jalen Hurts, and please start Tom Brady. Again, Tom Brady's my number 4 ranked quarterback this week. He's going to go off, and he's literally available round 9, round 10, round 11. That's where you want to draft these guys. Same thing with Ryan Tannehill again. He's another guy. Those 3 quarterbacks are the guys that you should have in all your redraft leagues if you do not draft an elite quarterback. Hurts, Brady, and Ryan Tannehill, because they all have great week 1 matchups. So you can start them with confidence, and you can start your season out on a high note. Not Joe Burrow. I'm concerned about Joe Burrow and the tough schedule to open the season. Other running backs in this range, Jamal Williams, Ronald Jones are interesting guys. But again, I don't love just loading up on wide receivers. Again, I like some of these breakout guys that you're kind of sitting on and waiting for them to pop, so you don't feel like obligated to start them. But I'd rather have some of these running backs, where there's going to be injuries week 1, and you're going to want to have, okay, I stashed Tony Jones. I stashed, Tyson Williams, like another injury happened. So now I have a starting running back at my disposal. I can trade him. I can use him. You just have more options, where as a starting receiver goes down, you don't necessarily see that receiver gain a ton of value. Running back, they just gain, their value skyrockets. But also other options, Michael Pittman, Marquez Callaway, Marvin Jones, Jacoby Myers, options in round 9, round 10. More running backs and receivers. This is kind of your running back flex with benefits type of area. So Rojo, Melvin Gordon, AJ Dillon, James Conner, Kenyon Drake, Sony Michel. I think that's round 10 is a really good spot for some of these guys. And you can also take a leap of faith on some of these rookie receivers. Elijah Moore, Terrace Marshall. Again, their paths are not super clear of like how they'll produce. But again, you put them on your bench, see how things play out. If they are, buried on depth charts, then drop them, move on. Draft the waiver wire pickup, because, we try to predict who's going to be the hot waiver wire pickup before the week actually happens, but that doesn't always happen. It doesn't always play out that way. So you're just kind of bettering your odds if you just have a lot of lottery tickets on your bench, but they don't always hit. hence why it's a lottery ticket. Again, if they all hit, then we would all be millionaires. And that's clearly not the case because I'm here, not in my mansion, broadcasting to you from StreamYard. I am in my room, my office, doing this. Round 11, draft running back, wide receiver, tight end. Oh, the last thing on Elijah Moore and Terrace Marshall. They both have really, really easy schedules to start the year. So I think we're going to see one of them pop early on. So then you can, if you just having that asset, having a rookie receiver that had a big game, you can flip them, you can trade them for a running back. Like they're just, the hype is going to go insane. So you're just going to be sitting on a appreciating asset, which is what you want. You're going to have more value. You can make more moves and improve your roster that way. Round 11, again, more quarterbacks here. If you still haven't taken a quarterback, again, I still like round 9. I think round 9 is really the sweet spot. Getting Tannehill. Trevor Lawrence is fine. I think that he's a good option. Houston's not a good defense. You can start him week 1. Other running backs, Nyheim Hines, James White. James White gets a boost because Mac Jones under center. Tevin Coleman is the starting running back for the New York Jets. He is the starting running back. Like, I know it's weird and I know it's gross, but he's starting running back. And if you drafted zero RB or you just don't feel great about your running backs you drafted, Javonte Williams, guys you're not sure if they're going to start or not, then Tevin Coleman, there's your guy. Start him. You can start him week 1 probably. He's playing the Carolina Panthers. They don't have a great defense, so he's an option there as well. Again, round 11 is also a great spot to go with the Patriots tight ends. Jonnu Smith, Hunter Henry. Again, Jonnu Smith has a higher ADP, so I would just draft him, and you can probably leave Hunter Henry on the waiver wire, honestly, and see how things play out. Again, I have a slight lean towards Hunter Henry. I think that he's actually going to be really more used in the red zone than people are giving him credit for, but again, in one game, that's going to kind of be the deciding factor. Who plays better against Miami week 1 is going to decide who the Patriots tight end to own is. And right now, it's just better to roster Jonnu Smith because he does have the higher ADP. So he's clearly valued a little bit more than Hunter Henry is. But really, they both should be rostered. And I feel confident starting both of them this week. So if you're in a pinch at tight end, Patriots tight ends can be your escape route. Again, Lance and Fields, I read about in the article here. Like Lance right now, it's really tough to draft him because we don't know when he's going to start. You don't really want to roster 2 quarterbacks. Like Fields just looks like so clearly ahead in terms of, is he ready to play? He looked more ready in the preseason. And you have to, his path to playing is so obvious. Like Andy Dalton has a tough go at against the Rams. He comes out of the game at halftime. It's I can't remember his name from the Texans, but basically it was a quarterback that came in after Deshaun Watson for a quarter or a half. And it was Deshaun Watson's role for the rest of the game. And for the rest of the season. So we could definitely see that play out with Justin Fields. Andy Dalton doesn't play well against the Rams. And Justin Fields is in for the second half and he starts the rest of the year. So draft Fields over Lance right now. You want to stash Fields because he legitimately has a chance to start very, very quickly. Whereas Lance, that doesn't seem like the case at all. It seems like as long as Garoppolo plays well, it's going to be him and it's going to be like Lance and some other things. Thank you, Kevin Mooney. Tom Savage was the name. Appreciate you from the chat. Tom Savage. Yeah, the Tom Savage corollary, putting Tom Savage in for a half. He was terrible in that game. They put Deshaun Watson in for the Texans, and they just kind of took off from there. So I could definitely see that playing out with Justin Fields. So get Fields. Round 11, I think, is fine. Again, when you hit the double-digit rounds, it's really less about ADP. It's more about getting your guys because you can kind of reach a lot of different ways here. Round 12. Okay. Round 12, you should have a full roster. Like you should have a full roster set. And this is where you can kind of start picking more of your guys. Again, except for kicker and defense, please do not reach on those positions. Like, just don't do it, please. Don't be the guy that takes, the Pittsburgh Steelers defense in round 10. Just don't do it. It's not going to help your team. It's not smart. It's because they play the Bills week 1. It's not even a great matchup. So again, defensives are so matchup dependent. Like the Broncos defense. Oh my God. Like you need to draft the Broncos defense. Like that's the defense you want. They play the Giants, Jaguars, Jets, first 3 weeks of the season. Smash, smash, smash. Like they're going to be locked and loaded. They're going to be Patriots 2019-esque DST, where people are going to be trading starting running backs for the freaking Denver Broncos DST. I'm telling you right now, it's going to happen. And that's what I want. You want the Denver Broncos defense. I would not take them around 12. You want more high upside players. Valdes-Scantling has had a lot of buzz out of camp. Ty Johnson, I like a lot. Ramondre Stevenson, some of these high upside running backs. Giovanni Bernard is interesting here as well. Talking about Gerald Everett. Again, he's a late round tight end. Austin Hooper, I also like a lot. So again, just more late round guys. Again, all the names are listed in the article. So if you're kind of like, I don't know who to pick, just look at the article. I highlight some of the names that you should take. So this way you're not reaching. You don't feel like you're reaching on players. And also, like, if you have your favorites, like this is where you take them. Round 12. Oh, I like this guy. Okay, take him. Like you're not reaching. No one's going to, you don't necessarily need to be concerned about, ADP as much because it's all kind of a wash at this point. We're all kind of just projecting and you're just going to be happier if you just get your guys that you actually want. Round 13, best player available. Again, it's 2 quarterback league, or you have to roster 2 quarterbacks. There's a couple guys, Kirk Cousins, Baker Mayfield have good week good week 1 matchups. I like them. Mayfield against the Chiefs, Kirk Cousins against the Bengals. So let's say you draft Fields as your first quarterback and you need a guy to start week 1. Cousins, Mayfield are interesting. Zach Wilson's also pretty interesting. Panthers don't have a great defense. So Zach Wilson, sneaky DFS play, maybe. I like Zach Wilson. He's way cheaper than Trevor Lawrence is, and they're both rookies, so you could definitely see it. For round 14, more sleepers. Damien Williams, Bernard, Lindsey, Madison, Hyde, Watkins. Just, again, some of the names that I've highlighted throughout the offseason, they're all listed in here. Rounds 15 through 18, depending on, again, how many roster spots your league has. 2 skill players, a kicker and a DST. Again, you're looking for player upside here, guys to roster on your bench. My kicker is around the top 5: Butker, Zerline, Tucker, Sanders, Jason Myers. Doesn't necessarily matter as much. I think Matt Prater is interesting. He's playing he is on the Cardinals. So a high-powered offense. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for a kicker on a high-powered offense or kicker that plays inside. Like, those are the main 2 things you want to look for in a kicker. And DST, you need to have a DST that's a solid matchup. That's why, Pittsburgh is not one reaching on because they're playing Buffalo. It's not really a great matchup. Is TJ Watt going to play? I hope so. He's on my 1 IDP team. I need him to play. But Rams, Patriots, Ravens football team, Broncos. Broncos is my favorite, but again, some people are on the Broncos, because people are actually picking up that they're actually a legit, real life good defense and have just this amazing slate of matchups. Carolina versus the Jets is a good matchup. Minnesota versus the Bengals is a good matchup. So some lower owned DSTs. More of my favorites, late round sleepers. Okay, Wayne Gallman. Again, we have no idea. Look, Mike Davis looks like the guy. It's Mike the Situation, just like in Jersey Shore. It's Mike the Situation Davis. That's exactly what they want there. But we don't know. Cordell Patterson has not played in the preseason at all. Is he going to be the main running back on passing downs? They added Wayne Gallman. Again, that may not sound like much, but Wayne Gallman is better than Quadre Olson. He just is. So more competition. We'll see how Mike Davis does. Week 1 is going to tell us a lot about Mike Davis. And he's either going to be locked and loaded RB stud potentially, or he's going to be oh my God, what were we thinking about this guy? So a wide range of outcomes for Mike Davis will be interesting to see. But that's why you got to draft Wayne Gallman to kind of see how this plays out. A lot of more backup running backs here. Tyson Williams is still worth, throwing on the back of the roster. We don't know what Le'Veon Bell's going to be like. I mean, Le'Veon Bell could be totally dust. He may not even be active on game days. He's on the practice squad. So don't necessarily bury Tyson Williams. Let a week play out. You can, if he's on your bench, don't drop him for another, just a 7th wide receiver. You don't need that on your lineup. Darrell Williams, the Chiefs, Edwards-Helaire had that injury that we didn't really learn that much more about. Tony Jones Jr., we obviously heard about Latavius Murray getting cut. So Tony Jones Jr. is obviously another player that you want to get with one of your late round picks. Boston Scott. Larry Roundtree is kind of my sneaky favorite guy to win the Chargers running back 2 job. Justin Jackson's never healthy. Joshua Kelly has just been atrocious on the ground. Again, I think he's slated for the role, but he has been so terrible just efficiency wise. In last year, he was bad. The preseason, he was bad. So I think that they're eventually going to turn the keys to Larry Roundtree. Again, is that going to be a touted role the backup running back for the Chargers? Maybe. Eckler has never necessarily gotten a full workload. Please, Nathan Yonke, do not come at me. I know you love Austin Eckler. I like Eckler a lot too, but traditionally they have used another running back. Justin Jackson can't stay healthy. Kelly's just not good. And Larry Roundtree played well in the preseason. He's not some athletic freak. His college production profile is good. His athleticism is really bad, but he's been able to transfer it to points and to production. So Larry Roundtree is my sneaky guy to be targeting the late round pick to see how this Chargers backfield plays out behind your guy, Austin Eckler. So that's going to do it, guys. That is the perfect draft strategy guide. Again, I tried to make it really, really simple to follow. So again, you're getting confirmation from me when you're taking guys in certain rounds. So you feel oh, did I reach? Did I not reach? This is a really good aid. Just pull it right up. Round 1, round 2. Okay, here are the guys I'm looking at. I think it makes it really simple. I've used it myself. I've used it on a lot of my teams. And like I said, I feel really strong about my quarterbacks. I did not take an early round quarterback, I don't think, in any league, because I got Tom Brady, I got Jalen Hurts, or I got Ryan Tannehill. And they all have wicked good matchups. They're all in my DFS article for this week. Again, except for Tom Brady, because he's playing on Thursday. But I mean, Tom Brady looks like he's going to put up 25 fantasy points or 30 fantasy points with all of his weapons against Dallas. They're all locked and loaded, and they're all available in round 9 and 10. So you're going to be set at quarterback. You're going to have a top tier tight end. You're going to have at least one stud running back. You're going to be loaded at receiver across the board, and you're going to have a bunch of high upside running backs on your bench. That is the goal to win your fantasy football league. And I think I laid it all out here. So again, for those that are still drafting, good luck to you. I'm on Twitter at AndrewX_. And again, if you want to get on the PFF fun, promo code kickoff30, 30% off PFF sub. Get in here. We got all the data, got brand new metrics, wide receiver cornerback matchup tool, fantasy strength of schedule. there's just so much stuff over at PFF. Great analysts. We're breaking everything down. We don't just get the tools, you're getting analysis plus the tools. So I'm out in 25 minutes. I did it. That's the perfect draft strategy guide. Good luck to everybody. Good luck to everybody in week 1. And we will be back. I think Jared and I are going to do a DFS live stream at some point, I think on Friday. So tune into that if you're into DFS. We're breaking down the main slate. It'll be a ton of fun with that. We'll do every single Friday. So yeah, thank you all for watching. Let me just get some of these questions. Should I start Brandon Cooks or Jerry Jeudy? I'm going to go with Brandon Cooks there. I like the targets going into him. I do not like the Denver Giants game, really. I think it's going to be a slog fest. It's Brandon Cooks and Claypool for Adam Thielen, a fair trade. I would keep Steeler Nation 412 chimes in, keep Claypool. Yes, I would keep Claypool. And again, shout out to my guy, Kevin Mooney, Tom Savage. Kevin Mooney is a savage in the good way, the good sense of the term. Thank you for filling it in. The Tom Savage corollary. That's why you should have stash Justin Fields, not Trey Lance on your roster, because Trey Lance may never play. So we don't know what's going on there. But Fields, yeah, the good chance we're talking about him in week 2 as the potential starter. So again, thank you all for tuning in. PFF.com, Andrew Erickson.